Hi, my name's Colin Mancey. I'm a multi-sport athlete coming up to age 82 and you're watching me on Run Forest Run TV. Hi, my name's Colin Mancey. I was born in Tasmania in the first half of last century. My athletic record for that time isn't all that brilliant. I played Aussie rules for the local football team and didn't really have much success at school sports. I went to New Guinea in 1960 and spent most of my adult life there and took on the usual sports of squash, tennis, lawn bowls and a little bit of running, but never seriously got involved in anything competitive. I went to Vanuatu for a few years, no sports particularly there. I did a round the island relay at one stage, but I'm coming back to Australia. Life was a little difficult, too busy to get back into sports, and it wasn't until I turned 70, my midlife crisis, that I decided to take up athletics. I joined up with Masters Athletics and I started training and competing at the Griffith University track. Now, I didn't start off as anything brilliant, but because of my age, there was not a lot of competition and I was getting podium finishes in most of the local, state and national competitions. That was going back 12 years ago, as I'm coming up 82 now. I'm still keen, I'm still competing, and last year I competed in the Australian Masters Championships for a result of 5 gold and 1 silver. I also competed this year at the World Championship cross-country event at Bathurst, Mount Panorama, and came away with 1 gold and 1 bronze. A magnificent experience and would love to do it again one day. Currently, I'm just finished my duathlon at Toowoomba and qualified for next year's Worlds, and that's what I'm now training for. What I consider to be one of my major achievements in the last few years was that I actually did the Qd Challenge on the Gold Coast in 2019. Team of 4 people, starting off at the Mudgeeraba Bowls Club on a Saturday morning and walking non-stop, apart from a few minutes break every now and then, for 29 hours to cover 96 kilometres of very challenging terrain in the Gold Coast hinterland. Team of 4, we were successful and we came in about midfield. There was another reason that I really wanted to do this was as a young government officer in New Guinea in 1961, I actually lived in the real Qd and I walked the real Qd trail many times as part of my job. So this event on the Gold Coast really was something that I wanted to do. Okay, duathlon requires quite a bit of fitness and different types of training. One of the other methods of training that I have is indoor rowing. Firstly, it's great because I don't get wet. Secondly, I find that it gives a full body workout, top and bottom. Can be done at home, can be done for 5 minutes, can be done for an hour, whatever you feel like. I used to do that at the gym when I was at Southport, and I found it very difficult to see what a person my age was supposed to be able to do. Nobody at the gym could tell me, so I just kept training. And I was told that that was one of the events at the Pan Pacific Games. It was about possibly 8-10 years ago. So I entered the indoor rowing at the Pan Pacific Games and I won gold in all the events. And since then I've maintained that sport. I've won many Queensland championships. I think I may still even hold a couple of records. I've won a few events at world level, not by going there, but with the concept rowing system where they have online verified performances. So I have been many times ranked #1 in the world for most of the distances. Okay, for those who don't know, a duathlon is an event that encompasses running and riding. The first leg of the event is a 10k run. The second leg is a 40k bike ride, and followed by another 5k run. Now, it's a little difficult to get the legs used to changing from one to the other, so the changeovers can be a bit frustrating, but I actually competed in Canberra last year. That was the Australian Championships, for which I won gold, and that was only the second actual duathlon that I'd done. The first one was the Qld one in Toowoomba 2 years ago. Then I did the Australian Championship in Canberra last year, and then of course the duathlon this year at Toowoomba. But my times, the Canberra times, I ran the 10k in 58 minutes. I cycled the 40k's in 1 hour 36, and the final 5k run I did in 31 minutes, which is comparable with World Championship times. One of the big social events that I enjoy is Parkrun. Parkrun is an international organisation, started up maybe 10, 15 years ago with one parkrun, and has now spread right across the world. I think in Australia there's something like about 3,000 different locations that have a parkrun. The idea is simple. Everybody from the neighbourhood turns up at their local park on a Saturday morning, and they do a set 5-kilometre course. Everybody's given a barcode which identifies them. They're given a finish token which gives them a time, and that is recorded by Parkrun and sent out to everybody that participates. I found the event to be very social. It's a lot of encouragement. There's no pressure to perform. If you go to Parkrun, you can walk it, you can take your kid in the pram, you can walk your dog, or you can really get competitive and try and beat the big boys. I've been doing Parkrun now for a few years. I actually hold a number of Parkrun records in my age group, which is 80 plus. Some of them being, last time I looked, I still had Main Beach, Paradise Point, Redcliffe, Sandgate, Ipswich, Tambourine Mountain, and last year I lost the record at Wynnum by somebody that I didn't know was there, so that was my fault. But Parkrun's a great way to get into fitness, and actually by doing Parkrun I actually met my run coach, Jody Cumner from Inform Running. Okay, so now qualified for the World Championships in Townsville next year. I've got 13 months. 13 months of getting fitter, 13 months of getting a few injuries sorted, a few financial things sorted. Being on a pension, it's not easy. These are expensive sports. I have to organise to be able to get to these places and have accommodation, and a lot of planning goes into this. So there's a fair bit to be done, but I'm working towards being there on the starting line in Townsville next year. One of my really special people is my coach, Jody Cumner from Inform Running. She's been my coach now for possibly 3 or 4 years, and she's a very caring person. She has a great family of athletes, and she really takes an interest in everybody. Jody's trained me specifically for events that I did at Masters Athletics, and has been instrumental in me gaining a lot of gold medals. Her encouragement is always there. She takes an interest in everybody, not just as a paid training, but she takes an interest in people on a personal level, and she really is there to help us all get further with our athletics. And the other person who's been a great help to me is Marcus Forrest. Marcus has taught me my bike skills, and I'm sure there's a lot more he could teach me, but Marcus was instrumental in me getting on the bike and started doing the duathlons. Part of my training for a duathlon is I do a lot of bike riding. I prefer to stay off the roads for safety reasons. I use the velodrome at Nerang for a lot of my training, and I also use the track at Runaway Bay. I recently participated in a fundraising event, which was the Brizzy to Bay bike ride. That was in support of multiple sclerosis. 100 Ks took me a little over 4 hours, and it was very enjoyable. Approximately 5,000 riders were in that event. I've also got the Brisbane to Gold Coast 100K bike ride coming up in August, and that's something else I'm looking forward to. That's for raising funds for cancer research with MARTA Group.